So, hello, everybody, and welcome to Magical New Beginnings podcast. My name is Sharon King, and today I have the beautiful, the amazing, the wonderful Debra Kilby with me. So, welcome, Debra.
Hello, thank you very much. It's so gorgeous to see you.
It's really good to have you on my podcast because we both share the same passion of working with babies in utero at birth. I will pre-frame or give a little bit of warning that we are today going to be talking a little bit about loss of baby through termination or through miscarriage. So if this is your personal story, then please just remember to breathe and to connect with your heart and just be open to receive the amazing information that we're going to be talking about today. And we're going to be coming at this from a very high spiritual place. So let me tell you a little bit about my guest today, Debra. So Debra Kilby is an intuitive energy healer. You're a channel, spirit baby medium, soul plan teacher, and spiritual guide. You are the author of Rosa's Choice, Healing the Wounds of the Mother, a journey into the world of spirit baby and how we can build a new earth together. And also you're about to release your next book. Is that right, Debra? Is it coming soon?
Yes, that's coming soon. Yep. How to communicate with your unborn baby.
Thank you for that. Awesome. So we were going to be digging into both books in a minute. Debra supports women on their journey to motherhood, whether they're struggling to conceive, have experiences of baby loss, or a traumatic birth. She also supports women who need to heal their own mother wounds, understand themselves on a deeper level, to motherhood through birth trauma, 3 miscarriages and a medical termination, catapulted her into spiritual awakening and discovering her life purpose. Her soul contract is to bring women, their baby, and future babies together to heal the deep wounds of mother within this lifetime and others. Debra works alongside spirit babies to offer their perspective on situations from individual and the collective as part of creating the new earth. Ultimately helping their mums and all people see themselves as they see them, which is love. All righty. So, Debra,
Where do we start?
where do we start? I would say let's start at the beginning, or let's start with Rosa. Would you
Yeah.
say, would you like to start with Rosa's story?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, the baby that changed my world. So as I mentioned just in that little intro, the birth trauma with I've got 2 boys very much here. Um, birth trauma with my first, and then 3 miscarriages. And then I got pregnant again with Rosa, and I kind of knew something was wrong. And actually, it was it was just before the 12 weeks, and I heard her out, out of the blue, like you do. It's not in your ears, but it's kind of just this internal knowing and hearing that, "Mummy, I'm sick." And I was going through all the tests like you do, and I was like, "Oh, is this fine? Is this fine?" And they couldn't really see anything, but I knew that there was something not quite right. So it was at 16 weeks that they did find that there was some genetic complications. So then it was making that choice of what kind of life is she going to have? What kind of life are we going to have? What does that mean for my eldest son? What does it mean for her? And then making this choice to release her, and that's her words, release. Um, and that was the moment that kind of because it was much wanted babies, there was also a lot of loss before that. And the 3 miscarriages, actually, I didn't notice, but because I wasn't very aware then, but my heart had been closing, closing, closing.
Of course.
And just trying to protect myself and survive, and not want to feel all that grief, or not want to feel all the, is it because I've done something wrong? Am I being punished? What is it that I've done to deserve this? Very victim consciousness actually that I was in. Which of course you don't recognize because you're in it, and you're not now we take self-responsibility for how we feel. That's curious. Wonder why I'm feeling that, so now we know these things, but I didn't know any of that then. So I was just in this terrible state. And then, gave birth to Rosa. And just thought, I just need to survive. How am I ever going to feel better? How am I ever going to be happy in life? I was just it just completely broke me. And it was, I was at work and someone else announced their pregnancy, and I felt this second of joy for them. And then this, and then you go into feeling guilty that that you're not happy. So I just took myself off. I just went home, and I was sitting in the back garden feeling all kinds of stuff. And I was like, I am not this woman who is bitter. I am not this woman who can't be happy for another woman. I'm not this woman. And this voice out of nowhere just said, well, who is the woman that is not all of these things that you're feeling and experiencing? And I thought, oh. So then I went on my journey to find that part of me that wasn't all of this big stuff. So then it was just a whole load of synchronicities, of, I was going to counseling. As she said, you're approaching it from a very spiritual perspective. I'm like, oh, okay, what's that? Gave me many lives, many masters to read, and it was like a light being switched on. It's like, oh, this feels so true. So it was quite a few years of, and then just really went into that healing aspect. Like, I want to know more, when you suddenly realize that there's more to life. And I think the big awakening was just on the bus, actually. It was the 355 bus. Like, suddenly it was just, there's something more. There is something bigger. It was literally a spark like that. And so, we're starting to connect more with myself and the healing. And it was when I was out with friends for work, and I didn't tell anyone. I was so full of shame. I only told a very handful of people that it was my choice. And then one of the girls said, so what happened? And so I finally told the story, that it was by choice. And she said, how do you feel now? And I had this wave of gratitude. It's like, I am so grateful for that experience. And it shocked me. I was like, how can I be grateful for something that broke me? That I just thought, I just don't know how I'm going to be in the world. How can I feel happy? All of that stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I went on the tube and I was like, wrote that down. Like, how can I be so grateful for something like this? And then this moment came over, and it's quite late at night, we're on the tube home in London, and I just felt this energy wave over me. And Rosa came in. I've only ever kind of seen her in form once. It's more like a really powerful energy. But she said it was my choice too. And we're going to write a book together. And in that moment, I was just elated, because I thought, oh my gosh, this is incredible for women to know, because we can blame ourselves, we can feel guilt, we can feel all manner of things, but actually our babies are with us in this experience. Our babies are with us always. It's not all on us. It's not our fault. And when she said those words, it was my choice too. And then I said, if we're going to write a book together, show me the front cover. And then she showed me this image, which I've managed to kind of get through into the designer's mind, because it was just this color magenta rose and the gold here. And I remember running back to my husband and going, I'm going to write a book, and it's going to help women just take the pressure off and understand that there's much more going on, and it's not all about them, and our babies are here to help us. They have choice too. And that's kind of that's how it started with Rosa. Yeah, it did take me 5 years to write it in the end, but it was so incredible being. And actually one of the most powerful things she's ever said to me was, I came in unwhole to make you whole.
Wow.
And I still feel shivers every time I remember those words, because I was like, why did this have to happen? I came in unwhole to make you whole. Yeah.
It's mind-blowing for a lot of people when they realize that I kind of describe it like a contract, and babies come and they go for for multiple reasons. You know, there's not, and but it's always about growth. It's always
Always.
about growth. It's always to help the mother grow. One of the stories I tell in my book, Heal Your Birth, Heal Your Life, is a lady that came to me, and I think you know this story, Deborah, with the lady that came to me who had this massive tumor in her uterus, and she looked 6 months pregnant, and she was in her early 50s. She looked 6 months pregnant, and at 3 weeks' time, she was going off to have this tumor removed and obviously tested. And we started doing some work. And when I said to her, like, think back 6 months before, first question I asked was, have you ever lost a baby? And she said, yes, she said, but I don't see what that's got to do with it, because she had a grown-up son. And she said, and I said, well, just tell me about that experience. She said, well, I had a termination, but I'm okay with it. And I said, that's great, but why did you have to make that life choice? And she said, because I was in a very controlling narcissistic relationship, and I'd lost my job, I'd lost my family, I'd lost my friends. I was basically a prisoner in the house, and I was only allowed out under his supervision. She said, and then I got pregnant. She said, and that baby was my catalyst, because I knew that if I'd stayed in that situation, that there was no way I was going to be able to disconnect from him and have nothing to do with him if I had a baby. Because, like, you know, so it was like, and the baby told her during the session that the baby came along in order to get her out of that situation, because she fled to a women's refuge. They helped her, you know, get away from this guy. They helped her with the termination. And she said that she would never have done that just for herself. She had to do it for somebody else. And so the baby went, yep, I'll be that somebody else. And 6 months before that tumor started, roughly about 6 months, I asked her what was going on before you noticed that tumor. And she said, well, my son came in. He was 18 at the time, had a 16-year-old girlfriend. We were all sat around the dinner table. And he said, Mom, I've got something to tell you. Whatever her name is, the girlfriend's pregnant, and we don't know what to do. So they all sat around and they had conversations, you know, on what was the adoption, termination, have the baby killed, keep the baby. And that was her catalyst, if you like, within her body to bring up everything. And it was interesting. It wasn't so much about the emotion, wasn't about, or what was growing inside. It wasn't about the loss of the baby. It was about everything that happened within that relationship that she had just boxed up and put away. That was a part of my life I don't want to deal with. I don't ever want to look at that again. So 3 weeks, 3 sessions, we went through and unpacked what was within that energy trauma capsule, as I call it. And her tumor reduced by 50%.
Wow. It's incredible. And that I really felt that because a lot of the terminations, the babies are coming in to move us out of a situation, and particularly around domestic violence, to move us out of that. And I've got a story in my book like that as well, but it's you know, oh, I can't, you know, this woman had 4 children, but she couldn't get over that. She was still really feeling the guilt, actually, and it was over Messenger. We didn't even have a call, and I was you know, so I was asking her again what was happening, what's the story, and I said, what do you feel, the name of, did you have a name of the baby? And she said, Grace. And I said, it was Grace that moved you out of that relationship, because again, she left that partner. So they're coming in to support us. They know that they are not intending to stay. They know what the outcome is. And there's a whole chapter on termination in my book, actually, of how it's like the most courageous women who really are prepared to go that deep into ultimately choice. I have choice over my body, over my life, over different things, you know, when we feel like we've had no choice. Um, and it brings us back into a sense of choice. And it's, you know, yeah, I mean, it's, you know, the repercussions of it can be ongoing, like that, you know, with your story, and it's still held there. So really kind of going, you know, really looking at that, how you feel about it. Yes, it was the right decision because it was the decision. Your babies were in it with you to really support you, but there's still going to be some emotional fallout because it doesn't just, the reason it happened is much bigger. So you're really healing on a very deep level when you go into that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's also one of the other reasons, and probably one of the other main reasons, well, is to understand that baby has a choice. Yeah, so
Absolutely.
a lot of babies get here and go, oh my God, it's very dense down here. I've changed my mind. Beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah.
Or they go, oh, this body's not developing in the way that it should be for the purpose that I need to have this lifetime. So maybe I'll go and come back in a healthier body or an unhealthier body, maybe. Maybe the life purpose of that child is to have a disability and the body fixes itself, and you know the physical body is not the way that the baby needs it to be for that life as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's just so many different reasons.
So many. And just like Rosa saying, she chose that, what we might perceive as unwhole, because that's what I needed to make that choice. Not another miscarriage. She said I was not listening. I had to have a massive kick. And I can talk about that now, you know, but at the time it doesn't feel like a very nice kick, but you're like, oh my gosh, now I get it. So it's holding, you know, if you know, for anyone who's feeling this or being in this right now, it's being open to that, to a different perspective. And that's what Spirit Baby offers, is a very different perspective, which is their perspective, how they see it from a higher perspective. And you know, we've got to look after our human and love, you know, we there's no way, we have to go through all these big emotions and everything, but it's, you know, it's not bypassing any of that, of course, but it's like, okay, I'm holding on to my human and all this is coming up, but this biggest, but holding on to this other bigger perspective. The
Yes,
gift is not in what's happened. The gift is never what's happened. The gift is healing through
yes.
what's happened,
And
and
how it changes your life.
completely.
You know, I've also worked with many women who have had a miscarriage, or ended up having to have a termination, and it was like, yeah, I wasn't really sure whether I wanted to be a mother even when I got pregnant, but the loss of that baby like really just ripped open my heart and exposed my heart and made me realize I do want to be a mother. So sometimes they come in to just open you up to that idea.
Absolutely. And I think that was my experience as well when I was younger, you know, very I mean, I look a lot at the mother wound, which is not just about our own mothers or us, as the mother energy is everything, you know, this is, nothing's birth without it. So it's kind of expanding that sense, but it awakens that mother energy. And you know, I do soul plan reading, so I know I've got divine mother is the heart of my soul plan. That is my life purpose energy, but I wasn't activated into it. But the termination I had when I was younger absolutely activated that divine mother energy, as well as brought me closer to my own mother, because she was totally there for me when I, you know, was thinking, you know, I couldn't tell her anything, or, you know, it just really started healing that mother relationship, as well as opening myself up to the mother energy. You know, there's so many reasons. And I've even been in, you know, communication with babies. They're like emissaries, is that the right word?
Emissaries here.
Emissaries, that they're coming in to see what it's like in the physical womb, in the density of the earth, and then they're going back to wherever the frequency they're from, so they can share that and prepare the other souls who want to come in. I mean, it's wild, you know, they're so high frequency, and they're literally coming in to gather information. And again, that's not easy for a woman to hear, you know, but it's this is what's happening on an energetic level, all
Yep.
sorts of reasons, and they're coming in to heal themselves as well, and the mother has opened her heart to allow that experience for the baby, and of course her heart is then broken, but they've healed something for the baby, but also ancestrally. I mean, it's massive, really.
Yeah, it's amazing. What I love, you sent me a preview copy of your how to communicate with your unborn baby, and I love how you mentioned in there about, the baby always comes from the higher perspective. Like there is no judgment, there is no blame, there is no hate, there is no punishing energy. It always comes in on a frequency of love,
Mm.
understanding, and support.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. There's, because we, for everything that we've been through this lifetime and others, we can go into that punishment, or the rejection or abandonment, all these wounds that they bring up. We can feel rejected if our babies don't stay, or abandoned, or we can feel like we've let them down. And this is just, they always say, it's not because of us you're feeling this. We've just brought this, we've just allowed all these feelings. They're coming from a long time ago, and it's that opportunity, if you like, when and if you're ready to kind of see, okay, this massive wound of letdown, of grief, of guilt, um but some people can be scared of coming for a spirit baby reading because they're scared of what their babies might say, and they are never ever, not in the whole 13 years I've been with the babies, ever has there been blame or regret or any of that. It's like, I'm holding you in what you're in. I'm with you, and I'm here to help, like lift you into who I know you are.
Mm, amazing, amazing. So when you're working with someone, Deborah, do you work with them in the way that you deliver the messages to them, or do you guide them in getting their own messages, or is it a bit of both?
It's kind of a bit of both, because I feel like it's really important that we know we can do this ourselves, but of course we have lots and lots of things in the way that make us feel like we can't, and obviously grief or guilt, or just really wanting to conceive and it not happening. There's an awful lot of other energy that's going on around, so it can feel a little bit, it's just a little bit more tricky to be open in that way. So certainly if I'm running group sessions, then I love connecting the baby so they feel the baby, so they at least have that, start to get a sense of that it's possible, that they're around. But then I will share messages from the babies, through me, and we never know what's going to be, it's impossible to say, but because we can't even imagine the perspective they're coming from. It's never what we expect, if you like. That might be a big karmic pattern that they're talking about, and the woman's, this woman's sitting there feeling grief, and like, what's this got to do with me? Why has it got to do with me? So, the messages are really big. They're always very deep messages. Um, and they often point to areas of healing, of wounds that are there, and hurts. And okay, this is, so they can go into that, but they can also show who they are. And it's so joyful. They'll be showing us scenes by the sea or by the river or the woods. They'll be showing how they might be in a group situation, that they might be really sensitive, so to be aware of that. So they also help prepare their parents for kind of their nature, if you like, and so they already feel heard and supported before they arrive. So they're not, there's you're already in communication with them, like, okay, I might not like being in a big group because this is my energy. What I'm going to love is doing this. So there's all kinds of, a whole stream of potentials that they want to share. So it's not only why they weren't, they will share their perspective of why they maybe aren't arriving yet, or why they weren't able to stay, or this is who I am. I want
Yeah,
you to
I'm
know who
here.
I am. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. 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 They're
And
always incredible.
yeah, so you work with a whole range of people, people who want to get pregnant, people who have lost babies, and people who are already pregnant and want to have messages from their babies.
Yes. So babies in the womb, and they're what's been happening recently with babies in the womb, because women are becoming more aware of, okay, so what I'm feeling is is that going to affect the baby? And your whole book, of course, I loved doing your learning from you on your course there. um so it's really gorgeous, but a, a lot of the babies are, yeah, I know that's yours. That's fine. Like, they're so in their sense of self. It's
Really?
incredible. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So they'll
Because
pick up what they need to, like we all do,
yes,
obviously.
yeah,
But certain situations that the mum might be concerned about, like, oh, but I feel really stressed about this, or stress, how's that? And they are literally like, yeah, whatever, I know that's yours. It's fine. Just get on with it.
that is amazing to know because the work that I teach is mainly about babies don't have a or haven't in the past. Let's put this in the past, haven't in the past been able to separate themselves from what mum's feeling. So what mum's feeling, baby's feeling, and that it just is.
Mm,
It's just
yeah,
like it's fear or it's anger or it's shame or it's grief or it's happiness or it's love. It is what it is. It's just like no separation. But yeah, I mean that's great because babies coming in now. We like most of us know, our spiritual people know that we are getting more and more sensitive, intuitive. We're kind of waking up to our who we are. So it's really good to know that the babies are now coming in more discerning and knowing, actually, no, that's mum's stuff. That doesn't belong to me. I don't have to take on that. But I also chose that mum because I do want that ancestral pattern to come through, and I do want that energy from great grandmother or whatever to be working with this lifetime. But that's really good to know.
yeah.
That's
And I
really good
thought,
to
because
know.
when it happened the first time, and it was maybe 3 years ago, and didn't, just thought, oh, that's really interesting. I'll, because the energy was so, and as a little girl now running around, she's still very much like like that. Um, but it's happened maybe 3 or 4 times now with babies in the womb.
Okay,
So I just feel like that might be, I'm just being
it's the
curious about
start.
that that newness around that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that's fascinating because, I've told this story a few times, but when I was writing my book, Heal Your Birth, Heal Your Life, I used to sit and meditate with the book. I mean, to me, like the book was its own personality, its own energy, its own responsibility for the work that it's doing in the world. Yes, I am the conduit that it came through, but we're very, it's like a child,
yeah,
that's now grown up. It's like it's part of me, but it's also part of itself. And when I was communicating with the book, I very, very clearly got that babies in the future are not going to, I think the words were, not going to need to be born through trauma.
yeah,
So this news that you've just given me now, that babies are becoming more and more conscious in utero, is just that at the beginning of that, I think. So that makes me very excited because my work going forward is going to be more about working with parents to be, to help them achieve that natural birth experience, and to clean up everything they've got going on between them and in their lives before they even become, get to even being parents. So
yeah.
that's
And
great, Deborah.
yeah, and I think that's that's kind of the evolution of us all, and that is what we're here for, to birth love, not trauma. That's one of their key messages, where we're not being born into trauma. They don't need to. We've had to, go through all this stuff and to remember that. But they are like, we don't need to. We don't need to have that. We're coming in basically to have a good time, to bring joy, to bring love, to create something new. So they show it like a runway. A plane won't land on a runway with debris on it. So to clear as much of the runway, if you like, for them to arrive. And they will still have what they need to have, but they don't need all the stuff that we've had. And the more that we as women, as parents, um, as partners, the more that we are clear in ourselves, like really, aware of those wounds. And we're not, we're all still on that journey all the time. It's not about being this amazing being. You are already amazing. What the babies are helping you with is to remember how amazing you are. They're not coming, you're not in your experience because you're not good enough. It's because you are so freaking awesome. They just want you to remember that you are that, because that's how they see you. And that evolution of birthing love, not trauma. And we could see why women are so, and children are just always being squashed or suppressed and worse, all those things, because actually then that trauma birthing continues, of course. So they don't want to birth new consciousness with love. So for the women and for the children to be held in such a valued, precious space, so they are birthing love, not trauma, then that is how consciousness changes across the board.
Wow, wow, wow.
Mm.
It certainly is. It certainly is. Well, your book, How to Communicate with Your Unborn Baby, is full of beautiful meditations and guidance for people who want to commune with their baby. Would you like to just do a little preview for people, or just explain a little bit about some of the techniques that you use? So maybe somebody who's sat here pregnant right now could just kind of tune into their baby.
Yes, of course. There's yeah, and that's it. Often when we're relaxing in the bath or relaxing in bed, so we're just feeling relaxed, and it doesn't have to be. We don't have to be all like Zen like this. You can feel their energy anytime. So it's really about giving yourself the space to connect. And okay, so if you're pregnant now and your baby's in your womb, you naturally put your hands over your tummy anyway. And imagine this kind of, feel the love, or something that inspires that kind of love feeling in your heart. Imagine this golden glow in your heart, or a little, flame, or light in your heart. And imagine that moving down into your womb. And the figure of 8 is such a beautiful way to connect. So feeling that love. And imagine that love just expanding down into your womb, coming around your womb and back through your heart to that figure of 8. So you're connecting your heart and your womb. And then you can imagine just dropping down into that figure of 8, down into the womb. And even just with your imagination, just imagining, if I could see or feel baby now, and ask them how they're feeling. So you can simply share love, or you can take it to that next level and ask how they are, and you'll feel a sensation in your body. You may, because we all have different intuitive senses, you may feel, you may hear something in your inner eye, you may receive an image, and your baby will communicate in their own way. Some really like images, some like sounds, some like songs, others like feelings. So just connecting your heart and your womb, dropping down on that golden light into your womb. Just allowing yourself to be open to receive. There's no trying. When we try and control something, that's not it. It's just being open. I wonder if my baby wishes to share anything with me today. You may or may not receive anything that first time, and that's okay. You're just letting them know you are aware that they are with you. Just continue to feel that golden figure of 8, connecting your heart with them in the womb, and feeling that love. And you may get a sense of imagining your womb expanding just to give them a little bit more space, or imagining your womb like what if just I wonder what environment they would love to be in right now. And you might see images of flowers or trees or just cozy cushions, just allow those images to come. No judgment, no control, no nothing. Just, I wonder what the environment, create that environment in your womb. Feel that environment. It's your baby's home. What kind of home do they want to be in? And just see the energy, witness the energy moving into that. And what they also say, Sharon, is like they see the world through our eyes. So one baby was saying, take me to where I'm going to go. So she would walk to the park or the trees where she would take him when he was here. And another one was like, oh, just showing the lake. They lived in Switzerland and there was this lake, and all he wanted to be was by the lake. And he's like, I see through your eyes. So when you're seeing something, you're showing your baby the world. So also just be, I know we're seeing the world, but see the beauty of the world. This is what they're coming into. You don't want to show them the fear of the world. They're seeing through your eyes, your physical eyes as well. So yeah, walk to where you're going to be so they can see, this is where we're going to play in the trees. This is where we're going to go swimming. They really love that. They really love that. And it keeps us an awareness of what we're looking at as well.
Amazing. Thank you, Deborah. Yeah, I did a course in animal communication, and you realize that animals communicate in images and feelings. And it sounds very much like babies are exactly the same way. So if you're using your inner vision to show the baby, like this is, the part of the work that I do is to show the baby how the birth's going to be in the future. But the baby's experiencing the feelings of that, because when you're visualizing something and you're really imagining it, then your body's releasing the hormones and the good feel good hormones as well. So as much as you can, show baby what life's going to be like, where you're going to be. That was a lovely connection there. Thank you. Even though I'm not pregnant right now, I do have a baby kitten on the floor down here. So I was just imagining that she was in my womb. So
Oh, beautiful. And it's, it is that, for those wishing to conceive as well, as what what they're really clear on as well is it's not just the visualization and the feeling, that usual manifesting, but it is connecting with them. Because they said, how can you visualize us with you if you're not bringing us into that visualization? So to connect with them, so you are both in that visualization, if you like, not just you visualizing, okay, I'm visualizing my womb, I'm visualizing my baby in the womb. They're saying, well, I'm the baby, so connect with me and I will be in your visualization. Does that make sense? It's like they to connect with the thing that the soul that you wish to visualize with, not just the visualization.
yes.
Why are you visualizing when you're when what you can be doing is actually being with us in that visualization, seeing our visualizations too.
Yes. I think also journaling as well. You do mention journaling in your book as well. So if you're somebody that doesn't have very good visual skills, if you like, and you're not able to get into the feeling of it, then maybe just writing, writing. There's a very good book called Writing Down Your Soul, I think it's called, and you literally just like you're writing a letter to somebody, but you're also writing the answer back from them. So you could write a letter to your baby and then just keep writing as your baby responds to you, because sometimes the actual physical writing of something helps because you're using a different part of your brain. It helps to put to one side all the doubts. Am I making this up? If you just allow yourself to go with the flow, then that should make things a little bit easier too.
Yeah, yeah. So that's, I think writing a letter to your baby is one of the practices. And some people actually swap hands. So when they want to hear from the baby, they might start writing with their non-dominant hand.
Yes.
Because that can help bring that through. But if you're in the flow, then just be in the flow. But otherwise sit with your other hand, because you're receiving different information when you're using the different, your different hands. So
That's right. So if you're predominantly right-handed, then you're always using your left brain, which is your intellectual brain. But if you start using your left hand, which connects to the right-hand side of the brain, that's your creative, imaginary part of your brain. So
they can kind of sometimes access that through you, so they can communicate through you because you're opening up to that other side.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love
they're
it.
very cool.
Debra, part of my work is very much about, past lives, ancestors, karma, things like that, life purpose. Why did we come here? What are we working on? What have you discovered with working with your clients around, the mother connection, mother-baby connection in relationship to maybe a past life or ancestors? Are there any stories you can tell us about that?
Oh yeah, so many. There's I'm not saying every baby has been connected to their mum in a previous life. Um, but on the whole, most of the ones that I've seen, they are. Oh, there's this uh, beautiful story. So they hadn't arrived in this lifetime yet, but what they were showing was oh gosh, sorry. I'm seeing the image, so I just can't get the get the
That's
words out.
okay.
So they were showing, it was kind of like Renaissance time. So they were an artist. So they were an artist. And she was keeping the house, if you like. So no kind of family relationship, but she was, making sure that the artists had their food, or she was keeping the house clean. So she was a maid. Um, but this baby was showing his grown-up self in this lifetime, and how he painted her as well, and she was the one who gave him the confidence and the self-belief. So it was all about self-belief, and he was saying, you gave me my self-belief that I could do this. You always kept me going. And it wasn't like they were always talking or anything, but they were always around together. And he said, this is what I'm coming in to offer you, your self-belief this time around. Yeah, yeah. So that was really stunning. Yeah, lots of just, connections. No, but that's the most kind of the heart story that's coming to mind. That connection doesn't necessarily mean you were the mum or they were the dad or brother or whatever. It can be these moments in time where you have been kind to someone, where whatever you offered them at that time was something that changed the course of their lives, changed how they felt about themselves. And so this babe was saying, I'm here to help you with your self-belief this lifetime. So this was about believing that she was worthy of becoming a mum. Yeah, so that was really gorgeous. Karma for sure. And that's it's kind of the hardest one, I would say, because it's really hard to wrap your head around. And you're like, I'm here. Like, what has all of that got to do with me now, and why I'm going through this now? So that's kind of the hardest one. That I'm just trying to, it was quite recent actually. It was really, it was okay. The stories are just not what you would imagine. So she was running women's groups when, at the time when they weren't allowed to be running women's groups, when you would be, is it the referee, when you would just, yeah, you would be killed as a witch, but women's groups, and they met in secret and things like that. And so this young man who was, she'd adopted him or looked after him. She was like foster, she was just, you know, looking after him because he didn't have parents. He was supposed to be on the lookout, and he didn't see what was coming. And so it was the babies were like, I let you down. I let you down in that lifetime. um and they were healing because, you know, she was pregnant, and then he didn't stay, and she was feeling like she'd let him down. So it was this feeling of let down, but they were healing this old ancient karmic story of, I didn't look after you, you didn't look after me. But they were just doing their best. But so he was coming in to heal that actually, um but also bring up all this other stuff for her. So that's kind of a karmic thing. Ancestral, so much. And actually most of the women, I would say, most, I don't know, a lot of the women here are here to say, right, enough of that. I work with a lot of women from India, or, you know, um, and that's really interesting kind of cultural background, certainly in terms of patriarchy and how women have been seen, how we've all been seen. But this is like a focus on that particular aspect of woman in that area. Um, and to say no, to come out of that saying yes all the time. So it's just saying no. And so there's a lot of ancestral things that are happening with women, and they're like, right, enough of that, enough of the woman being seen like that, having to behave like that, having to be, you know, be in this way. They're here to kind of really come out of those old ancestral hurts and patterns. Yeah, so it's big.
Beautiful, beautiful. Deborah, we could talk for hours and days, and so we definitely need to do this again. But just before we finish here, would you like to just talk a little bit about, tell people a little bit about Rosa's Choice and what is contained within that book?
Yes, so Rosa's Choice, I thought was going to be all about, so it's in three parts. So part one is very much the individual, um, our experiences in wanting to become pregnant, in that challenging journey to motherhood or baby loss, and why, from the baby's perspective, why that might be happening, but also from also your of course mentioned in my book, Sharon, how, you know, how our time in the womb and our own births. I mean, it's key to go back to our own births. If we could all go back to our own births and heal some trauma again, this is like you're then birthing love, not trauma. It's the same. Um, so that's part one. And I thought that was the book I was writing. So then I didn't write for ages, because then part two was coming through, which is the bigger picture of things. So the divine masculine, divine feminine, divine child, greed, war, you know, all of these things. And actually, the thing that stopped me writing for a year was the message on IVF. So IVF, there's some amazing messages on IVF. It's in spite of the medical, not because of it, that you are receiving your baby, because it's you are, you know, it's utilizing the medical if that's where you're at, but you are never giving your power away to it. So there were some very empowering messages around IVF, but the IVF message that really stopped me in my tracks was IVF is masking the imbalance between the masculine and the feminine. So this part two of the book is going much deeper into, you know, women feeling they have to have permission or the support of, because the medical is very masculine energy. We can't get pregnant without that, and it's masking this imbalance between the masculine and feminine. So that's the second part of the book. It goes into that. And actually, the biggest message that I've received that isn't in the book, because it's very recent, is that when women are in their power, there will be no more need for baby loss, because the losses are bringing up all sorts of old stuff. And I don't know whether that's in our lifetime or, you know, that's a future that we're looking at, but they won't need the experience, neither will us. Not that we need the experience, but it's that, you know, the growth. We won't need the growth because we'll already be there. And then part 3 is totally what it's all about, the universe and creation. So new earth and what happened to the, from Rosa's perspective, what was happening in the universe, how the earth was so open, all the portals were open, people were, it was a planet of love and everyone just wanted to be there. And then there was, you know, this rise of jealousy around that, and the fear, the fear of the masculine, that they were inconsequential to creation. So it's really big. So, you know, you just read at your own pace. Part 1 is very much about the individual, part 2 is the collective, and part 3 is that very bigger picture. So it's whatever level you're at to go into.
Oh,
So very behind the scenes of creation, and of course the mother wound is really the patriarchal wound, but it goes right back to the beginning. And what Divine Mother is really wishing for now, encouraging us all, is through that initial birth trauma, that initial coming into being as a soul. So I have a new session, which is with Divine Mother, that we go back to your very first incarnation, and we follow the root pattern of separation. So it's healing that root pattern of separation from source, from Divine Mother. So you are birthed, if you like, as a soul, but without the trauma. So it's going back that far.
love it.
It's
Oh,
cool.
right up my alley. I love that. I love that. Okay, Deborah. And your second book, when is it going to be available? And also tell us a little bit about the content of the book, please. How to communicate with your unborn baby.
Yes, so so that will be out. That's going to the publisher in the next week. I have one more video to make that I've been meaning to make for like about a month. And that's just talking about Spirit Baby. So the rest is there. So it's going to be an ebook, because it's more like a course in a book. So rather than running a course where you're, I just thought, let's put all of this into an ebook. And it's an ebook because you can access the meditations.
Yes.
So there's nine meditations in there, which is connecting with your baby in the womb, connecting with your baby in spirit. I think my all-time favorite one is when you go on a journey through the clair senses. So you're meeting your baby in a coffee shop, and you can hear them or see them or feel, you're just opening up all your clair senses on that journey. It's one of my favorites. But there's also opening up to channeling meditation in there. There is oh gosh, now it's called, yeah, just what's the other one? Oh, like really clearing your ear chakras. So it's really about opening up your intuition again, so you can really feel the confidence in yourself, that innate, we can do this, but we can all do this. It might be my job, if you like, in this lifetime to to help others remember that they can do that, but we can all do that. So that's the kind of aim of that, the intention of that book, is that everyone gets to remember and feel more sure in their knowing that they're able to connect with their intuition, with their babies, with the trees, with the flowers, and just know that they're much more than they can ever think right now. What that, it's really an opening of you, the opening of who you are. Yeah, and lots of different exercise and practices. So something in it for everyone. You might go through the whole thing, or you might just want to listen to the meditations. You might just be drawn to the journaling. There'll be all the practices, or one of the practices, like the candle gazing, or the the writing with your other hand, or just feeling that energy coming out your ears. So you're clearing those ear chakras of everyone else's opinions. There's lots in there that you can read the whole thing or just pick and choose, but it's more a course in a book. So that'll be out. It's going to the publishers next week. So I guess it'll be in about definitely by July it will be available.
July 2024. So we're filming
July
this
2024.
in
Yes,
June 2024.
please.
So
July
yeah.
2024.
Just in case you're listening to this sometime in the future, because that's also very possible. So.
Yeah, so it's yeah, so it'll be on my website, but it'll also be on all online bookstores like Rosa's Choices as well.
Beautiful. So can you tell us your website? Where would
Yes,
people get this information?
so debrakilby.com,
Mhm.
and that's Debra, Debra, so there's no H. My dad said it always confused him with the H, so he just put the simple spelling. So yeah, debrakilby.com is my website. Otherwise, I'm on Instagram, Debra Kilby Healing and Channeling, and Facebook is the same, Debra Kilby Healing and Channeling. Yeah, and I do love hearing from people and any questions, because then that sort of inspires when I, hold a Ask Me Anything, or there's lots on my YouTube channel as well, especially the IVF
Beautiful.
are on there as a video as well.
Okay, so I'm going to put all the links that you're mentioning below this video. So you can just very easily just go down and connect there. Do you do a newsletter? Is there like a
And I do a
newsletter sign up?
newsletter. Yeah, and in the
Okay,
newsletter there's a healing meditation, there's channeled message and an energy reading. So yeah.
beautiful. So if you sign up to your to Debra's newsletter, then you'll be notified when the book is going to be available on your website.
Yes. I'll be that joined up and organized, I'm sure.
Beautiful. Do you have any last words of wisdom for people that are listening to this?
Oh,
Before we go?
just, it sounds so trite, but really you are in co-creation. You are so loved. Everything really it's like lifting you. Let's just check what the babies want to say.
Yes, I was going to say, it feels like you're starting to channel, so we'd love to know what the babies would like us to know.
They're just they're it's like we're here. We're here. They want you to know that they are here. There's a lot of joy around them. They always bring joy, and I know certainly not feeling joy in big situations like that, but they bring that joy. So they're like, we're here, hello, we're here. So they just want you to know that they are here, and they are here for you. So you are in co-creation with them, also in co-creation with the earth and all of the other things, but you are in co-creation with them. And if your partners are open and willing as well, they play a massive role, and the babies are really, encouraging that the partners get involved as well in that connection. They've chosen them as well as the mums.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we're here. That's their message.
Well, we see you and we hear you. So,
And yes, thank you.
and we feel you.
Wisdom, yeah, their wisdom is profound. And it just completely flips our perspective. And of course, when we change our perspective, then everything changes.
Debra, just thank you for your amazing work.
Thank you for wanting to help me start all that off as well. Incredible. Thank you.
You're very,
All
very
a piece
welcome.
of each other's puzzle.
We definitely are. And I look forward to us connecting again. I have some future ideas for us too. But for now, Debra, thank you so much. And thank you everybody for listening with an open heart. I know some of the topics may have been a little bit difficult, but Debra's energy, the energy that's coming through you, the messages from the babies is like, there is only love.
It really is.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So
Thank
much.
you.